Racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Hello and welcome everybody to Circuit Ricardo Torma here in Valencias. I am Mike Nause in the booth. We are here for the Friday night PC round 3 here at the SFRGT challenge with $100 cash prize on the line tonight. Looks like we have a few packed full grid tonight. 14 drivers out there. Santiago Venegas currently leading the timings. We'll head on into that in a little bit. As I said though, we are here. Round 5. This is going to be round 5 of 8. Championship is heating up. Our current championship leader, Jace Wright, leading it at 173 points to Joey Raymer's 167. And take a look here at the calendar that we see. We just were at Circuit of the Americas. We are now here round 5, excuse me, at Valencia. Next up will be Spa-Francorchamps and then Monza, and finish it up out at Barcelona. For now, though, we are going to be here at Valencia, 2.4 mile circuit located in Valencia, Spain. 14 corners, 5 to the right, 9 to the left. 61 feet of elevation change. Not too much here, 18 meters. A track founded back in 1999 and basically unchanged ever since. Motorcycle circuit, of course. Lots of famous motorcycle racing has happened here over the years. We're going to see some car racing here tonight, which means, though, a lot of flat curbs and a lot of easy invalidation spots, as I'm seeing currently red timing charts on the board. We also have Diane Doozy. Welcome, Diane, in chat, cheering on Vinicius as well. Yeah, you love to see it. Currently, where is Doozy at? Vinicius currently in P7 with no time on the board. Has some challenge, some real, oops, wrong button. Has a real challenge out there tonight in the likes of Ricardo Rivera. Ricardo Rivera joining this championship tonight. As we pop on into the session, Ricardo Rivera in the pits in the Puerto Rico iRacing Club team. Not out there just yet as we see Rocky Rocco come to the line in the Rockefeller Racing 296. Drivers getting some times now on the board. Current pole position, a 131.4. Whew. 1,000th, or I guess hundredth, I guess. Separating 10 thousandths, separating Silva and Venegas. Venegas been quite the rapid driver in that Ethereum Esports Ferrari 296, the number 28. Lovely livery as well. Currently negotiating the curbs or lack thereof out on the track tonight. For all you Brazilian viewers out there, as we see Venegas run out onto the zebras, Yep, that's right. I learned a tiny bit of Portuguese. Well, I didn't. I was forced a tiny bit of Portuguese. Nicely done. Using all the zebras there. Shout out to all the Portuguese viewers. Currently on board with Venegas, Colombian. Not quite. The same will go on with Cunha da Silva. How is everyone doing tonight? I hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. As we have it, like I said, 14 cars navigating the track. Ricardo Rivera yet to set 15 cars as we have it now. If I keep saying that, we'll have more drivers join. That'd be lovely. Get a packed full grid tonight. The Ethereum Esports driver, though, currently sitting on pole position by a very uncomfortable margin. Cunha da Silva just out of reach there. But 5 minutes left to go here in qualifying. It's still very possible for him to set a lap on the board. Of course, come that 5-minute mark, any driver to come across the line will no longer be able to start a lap, but any driver previously on one will be able to finish it. Eyes, though, on the Spirit Onyx team driver of Cunha da Silva. Big moment there. Not a big moment. Medium-sized moment there on the exit of the no-named horseshoe corners. You can see him clip that apex very nicely onto the inside there. Coming now through turn 12 into turn 13. A long sweeping left-hander where you're just waiting, straightening that car out to get it under braking. Now the final corner of the night through the 14th corner onto the start-finish straight. It's a long start-finish straight here. These cars going to be getting up to good amount of speeds before they hit that heavy braking zone into the very high-speed corner as well. Of the left-hander here. First corner, you can see just chucking that car in there. In fact, chucking in there almost a little bit too much. Cunha not able to set the pole position lap, but the current pole is separated by less than a 1/10 of a second. Just for any reference, the human eye, of course, blinks in 2/10 of a second. Less than half of a blink of an eye separating the margin of pole position currently. Vinicius Duzzi looking for that pole. So is Albert Tranghisi. Is Albert Tranghisi on his return here tonight? He had a week off due to a work-related vacation there. And this time around is back up on pole position, and he's going to park it into the garage for now. Does Duzzi have an answer? Does Ricardo Rivera have an answer? That's another question. Ricardo Rivera, a driver that we have not seen here on the grid, driver I'm very familiar with over at Trackalicious, but as we come across the line here, Ricardo Rivera is going to jump to pole position. Now that is what I expected out of the Puerto Rican 787 McLaren Evo 2 driver. Absolutely rapid, the Puerto Rico iRacing Club members. Of course, looking at Jose Guzman, Carlos Guzman, as well as a few others. I don't know if the Guzmans are actually in there now that I think about it. May have just outed myself. But anyways, neither here nor there. Vinicius Duzzi is going to come to an end of his qualifying. I don't think he will be able to get out in time to set a lap unless he gets out basically immediately. Will have to be P2 for now. Santiago Venegas going to be retiring to the pits. Daniel Madrano in P6 currently in the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini Madrano. Lovely livery on board with Daniel here tonight. Albert Tranghisi relinquished to third position. Santiago Venegas is going to stick to fourth. Ricardo Rivera improves on his time because why not? Nobody was going to compete with it in the first place. 6.5 tenths is the margin to pole there for Ricardo Rivera. My goodness. Coming in with a barnstormer of a lap here tonight. Rocky Rocco, P9, Devin Anthony rounding out our top 10. We'll see if Patrick Dubois has anything to say about it either. He's currently down on his lap heading into the final corner. Now to the start-finish line is going to be no improvement for the number 87, and the last driver that will come across the line is going to be the sister car in the Lamborghini here, the Rockefeller Racing Madrano, and as of now, no improvement either. Going to practice their pit entry, very smart. Maybe a little bit hot into the pits that time. That's why you practice your pit entry. Patrick is going to both drivers had an opportunity to improve, but that's going to be the end of qualifying. It looks like we have 10 seconds until the session comes to an end, but we have no cars out on track. Ricardo Rivera takes the pole. Vinicius Duzzi in P2 and Albert Tranghisi on his return race in P3. Head on now into the qualifying session. We can now get moving on to there. A little bit of a calm before the storm tonight. Circuit Ricardo Tormo, you can see there the entire track, a very small one, 2.4 miles, of course. Very curvy, 14 corners, 5 to the right, 9 to the left. The best overtaking opportunity is going to be somewhere into that second corner, maybe out off the back straight as well, which if you want to call it a back straight, with the Curva Aflicción. Very curvy, windy track. Overtaking going to be limited here, so the qualifying, very important. Going to be a happy result there for Ricardo Rivera. And Vinicius Duzzi going to be trying to stick it to Ricardo Rivera early on here. The young Brazilian driver, 12-year-old Brazilian driver, of course. Ricardo Rivera, he's no slouch. Been out there for a while. Ricardo has some experience under his belt and some e-racing under his belt, as some esports as well under his belt. So, a very, very talented driver out there tonight to, it looks like, storm away with the victory. The race format is going to be a 60-minute race tonight with one mandatory pit stop, no pit window. The drivers will have 25 seconds mandatory to take to take fuel. Fixed pit time, 25 seconds basically, and 5 additional seconds to take tires. But the twist this weekend is that their drivers only have 2 tires throughout qualifying and the race. So the drivers have already burnt up one of their sets here in qualifying, at least to a certain extent. So we'll see how the drivers have to navigate that here in the race. I predict no tire change in the pits, which for a 1-hour race here at Valencia could get interesting. It's a very, very challenging track when it comes to tire wear. So that will be a massive battle for the drivers tonight, no doubt. But that is a little bit ahead of us. Of course, what is ahead of us right now is going to be our grid rundown, of course. We got to meet our drivers that are going to be out there tonight. I obviously do not have... Oops, that's my computer. Oh my goodness, that is my computer making those noises, everybody. As I have... the guys in the truck, not quite ready, and then overly ready. Nonetheless, let's get in here and meet our drivers as we have it. Starting here in P1, Ricardo Rivera, the 787 Puerto Rico iRacing McLaren Evo 2. Next to him, Vinicius Duzzi in the Ferrari 296. It's going to be a big Ferrari lockout behind Ricardo. The Spirit Onyx team, Brazilian, the number 25 12-year-old driver, lined up on that front row with Albert Tranghisi, bringing up row 2. The number 1, our previous champion on the Friday night series, is going to be bringing up the 2nd or 3rd position here tonight and challenging the likes of Vinicius and Ricardo into turn 1. Santiago Venegas in 4th position, the Colombian driver in the Ethereum Esports, has Cuna da Silva, behind him on row 3. With Daniel Madrano company there, rounding out our row 3, the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini in P6, the number 6 driver, Joey Raymer, our current championship fighter in P2, currently in our championship in P7, the number 76 McLaren. Not quite the greatest qualifying out there for him, going to be looking to improve in the race. Marco Saldana in P8, the number 111, with Rocky Rocco in the Rockefeller Racing Ferrari 296 647 in P9. David Anthony going to be rounding out our top 10 and getting underway for our 2.4 mile outlap tonight, with Jay Davis in P11. As well, row 6, Anthony Macho Man Camacho in P12. The number 14 Audi, Patrick Dubois company in P13. Michael Gravelle, 14th quickest in the number 30 Porsche Motorsports, or the Gravel Trap Racing. And Fikri Azka, the Polish YLab E-Racing Lamborghini number 74. Going to be last but not least here tonight, joining late in qualifying. And going to be looking to make a improvement on the grid tonight. 15 drivers is the number. Now, coming around the first few corners into Sector 2, Ricardo Rivera leading us away here tonight. He's got a lot to do on his debut race in this season. We'll see how he contends with the rest of these drivers. But for now, we will see. Ricardo Rivera, a name that I know quite well. Like I said, of course, anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Mike Nause, over from Trackalicious. Ricardo Rivera, he has driven quite a few races with us, and as a result, I know he's a very quick driver. As well, anyone interested, of course, I am Mike Nause in chat. I'll head a little link if it will allow me. Oh, well, that link just got all jumbled up together, but they both seem to work. Nonetheless, I'm Mike Nause, lead commentator over at Trackalicious. We do a lot of racing. Of course, we're here, though, at the SFRGT Challenge. If you guys are interested, this championship, $100 on the line. Of course, provided by the SFRGT Challenge, as well as 3 top-notch setups from Coach Dave Academy. Coach Dave providing us with those. Thank you very much, Coach Dave, making it possible to have this championship here tonight, as well as to SimGrid. You guys are awesome as well. The drivers, though, have completed their 2.4 mile outlap. It's a short one here. Ricardo Rivera on pole position with Vinicius Duzzi company in P2. I'm Mike Nause in the booth as we get ready to go green, heading down into the first corner here at Valencia. It's a little bit of a calm as we approach the Repsol line here. And we are green, 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 heading to the first left-hander. It's going to be a very important start for these drivers as we get underway, and Ricardo is off strong, side by side, for Santiago Venegas and Albert Trango. On the inside there, we can see the drivers going to be washing out wide, fast left-hand corner into the first one. It's Venegas getting the advantage on the exit, is going to be challenging onto the outside. Nicely done. Venegas not able, though, to get the job done fully just yet. Albert Tranghisi holding on by a thread, but that's all he needs to hold on to for now. Behind them, that's going to be Cuna da Silva, the Brazilian number 12, 296, biting at the heels and the diffuser of Santiago Venegas, and as well, everybody going nip and tuck behind. Seems like we are green, green, green here for a 1-hour race at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Valencia, Spain. Joey Raymer with an attempted move onto Daniel Madrano, not going to be making anything of it just yet. Santiago Venegas and Albert Tranghisi company as well. This is a podium fight for the first lap. The drivers may be settling in, though, just to work together, maybe catch up with Ricardo Rivera, as he's already pulled a 1-second gap to Vinicius Duzzi, which is absolutely saying something. Vinicius has been winning these races by about 16 seconds each time around, it seems. Not this time, though. Seems like we have a new bulldog in the house tonight. Ricardo Rivera. He's going to be the bone to chase for Vinicius Doozy. And Sharkbait, as well as Sephiroth. Apologies for the mispronunciation there. Rockefeller Racing. Cheering on the Rockefeller Racing team as well. Sharkbait cheering everybody on here tonight. You love to see that. I'm also cheering everyone on here tonight. Venegas looking strong. We have Marco Saldana under massive pressure as well. Jade Davis holding up everybody as with Anthony Macho Man Camacho under threat just due to the fact that he's in this train. He's got 2 cars in front, 2 cars behind. It's one of the thick Oreo sandwiches. I got it right. All right, that's a first. Joey Raymer pressuring Daniel Madrano's diffuser, hoping that he is going to make a mistake in that Lamborghini. We see a mistake from Anthony Camacho and Patrick Dubois. See if we can catch this one on replay. So we have the Lamborghini behind. Yes, misses his braking zone as we see Anthony do everything that he could to get out of the way. He tried to run wide and oof, a little bit of unnecessary contact on the rejoin. That's going to hurt both drivers massively here for this 1-hour race. 1 mandatory pit stop. Don't count them out, though. As our P-last driver, Patrick Dubois, comes across the line for the lap 2. Ricardo Rivera is already heading off into Sector 2 here tonight with a great advantage over Vinicius Doozy, 1.6 seconds. Santiago Venegas, definitely the driver to keep an eye on. Why don't we pop on board here? This is the Ethereum Esports driver battling with Cuno da Silva. The 2 South Americans going to be having a little bit of a bout here tonight. Colombian versus Brazilian. Who is going to take it? As it stands, Cuno da Silva, the Brazilian, is firmly ahead. But last time around, Santiago Venegas actually slightly slower. Now heading through the kind of tight chicane. I wouldn't call it a chicane. It's hardly a chicane, at least. But the long sweeping left-hander, flat out the entire time as you look for your braking marker that barely is there in the first place. Not much to even look out for. So hard to focus on the car in front as well as your braking marker. That's why you just drive your race. You don't hyper-focus on the bumper of the car, or else you pull a George Russell in Singapore. Of course, Valencia, the newest track in ACC. Not the newest track to be announced, though. Big hype for everyone, as we have the Nürburgring, not just the Nürburgring, but the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, coming to ACC next year. And nicely done, maybe, as we saw an attempted look there from Santiago Venegas. He smells blood in the water, but also he's getting maybe a little bit scared behind as Joey Raymer and Daniel Madrano breathing down his neck as well. But back to the Nürburgring, of course. The Nürburgring, well, why would I go back to that when we have a hot battle happening right in front of our eyes? Daniel Madrano is under pressure from Joey Raymer. Our Joey Raymer is looking to not lose too many points here, but actually Jace Wright, this is going to be Jace Wright's job around the Controller King. He looks like he has gone to a different province to visit with other joystick users. I don't know where this is going. This had nothing. We had nothing. He also has actually missed a few other rounds, so currently leading the championship. Oh, Big Sen, Daniel Madrano, bit of contact as well, bumping and banging, forces the Colombian off the track. 3 wide we go, and Joey Raymer says, thank you very much, you guys, for parting the Red Seas for me. The Nameless Racing is going to be through. The stewards definitely going to be taking a look at that one. Santiago Venegas going to feel more bullied on that one, I think, than Daniel Madreno. We'll see, though, next race how the stewards view that one. Close margins, though, as it stands. Less than half a second separating these two drivers. Joey Raymer got to prove now that he can lead the pack. He's been following the pack for a while. Hasn't had anyone breathing down his neck. Now has two cars. Two Italian makes, kinda. One really Italian make, the other one not so much. But for the sake of Lamborghini, we'll call it Italian. Handling it well, though, so far is Joey Raymer. Of course, as our presumably going to be our championship leader after this race, I would hope he will. Championship, though, is far from decided as it stands. Jace Wright leading it, but not here in this race tonight. He had a P2 in last race's finish. We also, of course, had Joey Raymer finishing P3 last time around, with Vinicius Duzzi taking the win. Vinicius has 2 wins under his belt since he joined this league 3 races in. Also, Albert Tranghisi, he's currently sitting in P4 at 128 points. A bit of a point spread between Jace and Albert. Santiago Venegas going to be bringing up our P5. Would have been much higher up in the points if he didn't secure that DNF last time around, unfortunately. Fikri Azka, something's happened here. Going to be kicking up some marbles on the side. Let's take a look. Fikri. Oh, the back end stepping out on that Lamborghini. Such an easy thing to do. The throttle pedal so sensitive on that car. And you can see a very nice rejoin, as did not getting in the path there of Anthony Macho Man Camacho or Patrick Dubois. Oh no! Patrick Dubois. A little bit of a kiss of the bumper there onto Anthony Macho Man, but he is the Macho Man and able to hold on to that. Fikri going to be pressuring immediately onto that mistake, but it pressures himself right off the track at the same time, does the Polish driver. Big scrap here for P second to last. I got to give credit where credit's due, and definitely providing the entertainment down here. They are as well up at the front. P5 yet, or P4 yet to be decided, really. Kuna holding on for now. Side by side we go. Joey Raymer is going to lose this position potentially again to Santiago Venegas. Santiago was ahead, but he clatters the curb, and that is going to send Santiago's bearing off into the barrier there. My goodness. Joey Raymer is going to be kicking himself for that one. Why don't we go back and get a live action replay on that? As we can see here, those two drivers had a little bit of a contact before actually going into the corner. And Daniel Madreno tries to capitalize on that mistake, but he is actually not ahead at this point. Daniel Madreno did wash wide through that corner and lose the position again to Joey Raymer, but Joey Raymer is going to have an inquiry about the post-race here, no doubt. I think the steward's going to be having a look at that one. And a drive-through penalty picked up for Patrick Dubois. Patrick has not made his pit stop yet, so that's due to, I'm assuming, track limits. As they come down the start-finish straight once again. Daniel Madreno pressuring it. Love to hear what you guys have to think of that incident in chat as well. And while you guys are in chat, of course, make sure you guys hit that follow button and the subscribe button, because it is free here over on YouTube. Big thanks to everyone viewing tonight, as well as viewing after the fact. Danny Madreno, though, he is only viewing the rear bumper of Joey Raymer. As you can see him get ever closer every single time he comes around this track. But yet, no avail. Certainly is a tricky one. I do gotta say here, overtaking at this track is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. You really gotta be confident and have your elbows out, or the driver in front needs to make a mistake. Oh, and speaking of mistakes, you can see a little bit deep there from Danny Madreno. It's not going to help him keep up with Joey Raymer. And speaking of keeping up, our current race leader, Ricardo Rivera, is almost 4 seconds ahead of Vinicius Duzzi, the Spirit Onyx team driver. 4 seconds ahead of Albert Tranghisi, who's 5 seconds ahead of Cunha da Silva. So the top 4 very spread apart at this point. In fact, the top 5 even, I would say, are spread apart. But behind them, very tight gaps, as there is no mistake for any of these drivers. It will cost them massively come the end of this one. 47 minutes, 15 seconds left to go. Anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. You know, like I say, anyone that has some experience here at Valencia, I'd love to hear some of your Valencia scare horror stories. As like I said, this is one of the trickier tracks, also one of the newer tracks, so maybe not too much experience, but it should be fresh in the mind, any scares. I myself have had a few into that first corner where it's so tempting to go for an overtake, but I'll be honest, it's just sometimes a little too tempting, might I say, where you go for it, you're super confident, super on it, but at the end of the day, you miss your braking zone by about 10 meters and take the car out. Definitely not saying that one from experience. But that is neither here nor there. That's why I'm in the commentary booth, and these drivers are out there on track and going to be trying to make those overtakes happen in a little bit more reasonable location. But let me know what you guys think as well. Danny Madreno, for now, is going to run deep again. Has to correct that onto the start-finish straight. Joey Raymer is going to walk away a little bit here. And Fabiano Rousseau, I'm assuming that is. Or Fabiano Rousseau, I think. Supporting Vinicius Duzzi and Da Silva, the SOT drivers. And I hope you are having a great night as well. It is. Okay, awesome. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're enjoying tonight. Cheering on the fellow SOT drivers out there, or rather your fellow countrymen, I should say, your fellow Brazilians. Couldn't race, unfortunately. Oh, of course you are an SOT driver as well. Hard to keep who is who when I'm commentating 3 different leagues, I'll be honest. 3 different leagues, what am I talking about? It's more than that. But anyways. Devin Anthony, or should I say Devin Smallblock Anthony, pressuring at Jay Davis currently. It's going to be the 2 McLaren Evo 2s. They should be working together as well a little bit to gain back some time onto Marco Saldana. Let's hope Devin can keep the RPMs under control here on this McLaren and all 8 cylinders as well inside of the car. Well, that is happening up front here. Joey Raymer in P5. Seemingly working with Silva. But I will say not working too well, as Albert Tranghisi is lapping extremely well lap after lap here. 132.4 was his previous, compared to a 132.6 of these 2 drivers, both of them in the same window, with Joey Raymer slightly quicker actually. Joey on the run on the curbs there. Or should I say the zebras. There was another Brazilian. It was, oh, what was the other Portuguese word you guys taught me? It was, it wasn't apex or something. It was something along those lines. It had the word cheese in it, if I'm not mistaken. But unfortunately, my Portuguese is less than ideal. But we do it for you, chat. We do it for you. I've learned one Portuguese word in the past week. So, hey, if I keep that up, I'll know, like... Well, there's only a couple of weeks left in this year, so I won't know too many Portuguese words by the end of this year. But Patrick Dubois is trying to overtake Michael Gravelle. This is a battle for P-Last, the honor position on track. Who is going to hold the fame and the fortune, or rather misfortune, of this position? It actually might be Fikri Azka, who is 17 seconds up the road as both drivers getting a bit out of shape through the middle sector there. Side by side they go. Michael Gravelle is going to back out. Fikri Azka actually is returned to garage or disconnected altogether. So the battle for P-Last resumes on track. Currently, Michael Gravelle holds the title for that one. Up ahead, Devin Smallblock Anthony trying to lay the claim to Jay Davis's position. The number 8 driver in P9. Now, coming around once again into this middle, the tight, twisty, windy sector here. You can see this track really has no break for these drivers. Even an hour of driving this track can give you a little bit of fatigue in terms of your wrists. Of course, with one pit stop, it makes it a little bit more doable. But through turn 11, and now heading into 12, the long 13 here. So you got to straighten the car out, under braking. You can see the car wanting to jink to the side as you try to get onto the brakes and get that car to slow down, but you need to keep it in a straight line. Onto the start-finish straight, best exit possible. Fabiano Russo liking my Portuguese as well. Of course, I said before, this track, a MotoGP track, at least at its birth. GT cars did decide to race here at some point, which was a good choice, I would say. Very low curbing, which allows the drivers to attack them and carry a lot of speed, but at the same time, it means that you're pushing those invalidations. Currently, Joey Raymer, he is on an invalid lap. Does that mean that he got a track limits warning for that? No, not necessarily. However, it's fairly likely here at Valencia, as it's so easy just to carry a little bit too much speed through these corners and wash wide, or either wash through the middle of the apex and pick up a little track cut. And 4 track cuts, of course. We'll have a little trip to not only the steward's room after the race, but also a drive-through penalty. Have a trip down pit lane to think about what you did and say that I will never do it again. But this 3-way bout not going anywhere. Joey Raymer lunging down, under braking there, trying to gain onto the diffuser, biting a hole into Cunha da Silva's 296. Car looks extremely planted, I do have to say. Joey Raymer under full control of that McLaren. Of course, 2 limited tire sets here tonight is going to spice things up. Do the drivers take tires come the pit phase? That is the question. I think not, but here at Valencia, that's such a tough thing to do, as you are going to be wearing your tires so much, especially any drivers having any trips off into the outside. It's so easy to have a little spin. So far, so good, though, when it comes to that. I don't think we've had too many drivers go off and have any yellow flags, really. We've seen a couple little bits of contact that have washed some drivers wide, but nobody ended up facing the wrong way on track, to my knowledge. Hope that reigns true. as this is an easy track for that to not happen, as I almost thought that we were going to have a little commentator's curse there. Joey Raymer, the number 76 driver, currently, as I've said before, P2 in the standings. Looking to come back, maybe have a podium finish again. Finished up on the podium last time. Hasn't had, though, that race win that we would expect from him. Currently, race 1, P2. Race 2, P8. Race 3, P2. And last round, of course, he had a, well, round 4, he had a P5 and a P5. P3 did manage to sneak onto the podium last time around, but hasn't had, like I say, that desirable race win. He's still going for the championship, though, and he more than likely will be leading the championship at the end of tonight, barring any massive catastrophe that is due to the fact, of course, that our current leader, Jace Wright, is not out on track. Not sure where Jace is tonight. We'll say that he is on a penguin watching expedition in Antarctica. That is my assumption for the situation. I'm pretty sure that's the most likely out of anything that I can think of, quite frankly. Now, Devin Smallblock Anthony, of course, a master of the V8. This time around, though, twin turbos powering this V8. One of my favorite cars, by the way. In fact, probably my favorite car in the game. I love the McLaren Evo. Well, I love the McLaren 720S. The McLaren Evo, I'll admit, I don't have too much driving experience on, and I can't quite get a hang of it. But that's just mainly a skill issue on my end. As you can see, Devin with very smooth steering inputs as well. Able to wrestle that McLaren to a T, I would say, as the McLaren isn't looking particularly strong tonight. We can take a look at the standings and see that it is P1. That is mainly due to the fact that it's piloted by the Puerto Rico iRacing driver of Ricardo Rivera, who is an absolute madman when it comes to pace. Vinicius Duzzi, though, Albert Tranghisi, Cunha da Silva, those three drivers all in the Ferrari 296. The Ferrari seemingly the strongest in this league so far, at least strongest in terms of choice as well as results. You can see there are quite a few McLarens out on track, though most of them squabbling for the positions down in the doldrums. The Rockefeller Racing, though, of Devin Anthony continues on for now. P10 looking to improve that. 13 drivers left. I'm not sure what happened to the other two. I know Fikri we ended up losing. Don't know who the other one was. Can't tell offhand. In the pits, we see Jay Davis. An early pit stop. Patrick Dubois has also not made his stop, actually. I take that back. He has made a trip through the pit lane from a drive-through penalty. Devin Anthony, we'll see where he, Jay Davis, we'll see where he comes out. Pretty sure he'll come out in P last. But will rejoin later on, of course, a bit higher up. The undercut, we'll see. We'll see what he does. Of course, 25 seconds is going to be the fixed time. 5 seconds additional if you'd like to take tires. Though the tires that you would be switching over to would be your qualifying tires, as there are 2 limited sets here tonight. So throughout the entire... Oh, and I completely forgot. The drivers also had to put a minimum of 5 laps in the free practice session. So in terms of their tires, their qualifying tires are actually quite well used. They've had to put at least about 8 laps in. These tires, though, cooked at 17, I will say, at least currently at 17, and we are not even halfway through the race just yet. You can see off on the left-hand side, there is that top left-hand side. There's going to be a number 1 next to all of your favorite drivers' names, except for, of course, unless Jay Davis is your favorite driver. And you do not see a number 1 next to his name because he has made his 1 mandatory stop tonight. As I just said before, 25 second fixed time with 5 seconds additional if you would like to take tires. Jay Davis did opt to take his old tires from qualifying. So on a slightly less used set than he had on before this, but the thing is, he is going to have to use those for a longer period of time. See, now this is a very interesting strategy. If you're going to switch over to your old set of tires, I would have thought you would have waited a little bit longer because now he has to go actually longer on an old set of tires than he did on a fresh set of tires at the beginning of this race. I do not think Jay Davis started on his qualifying tires. Therefore, he is going to have a bit of a, I mean, we'll see. He's going to have a bit of an issue later on. For now, though, he has more grip than Michael Gravelle. Michael Gravelle is going to try to hold on to that position, but not going to happen. They both continue on down the start-finish straight. We'll see if the strategy pays dividends for Jay Davis. However, I suspect it may not later on. As Michael should probably not be going for that at overtake. On significantly older tires, just should be using Jay Davis as a bit of a benchmarker and a little bit of a tow as well. Down the straights here at Valencia, just catch that little cheeky slipstream. And that McLaren punching a hole in the air for that Ferrari. That is not a Ferrari. That is a Porsche 992. Much different cars, of course. This one, flat 6 engine. A little bit different than its predecessor. Of course, one of the newer cars in ACC as well. To the 991. The 992 has a engine that is slightly more pitched forward, about 5 degrees in terms of its angle. As well, it is pushed a couple millimeters back, basically to the absolute limit of being a rear-engine car. If this thing was to have an engine, I think even slightly more pushed towards the rear axle, it would be considered a mid-engine car. That, though, is not enough to keep the balance handy for Michael Gravelle. We just watched him pick up a drive-through penalty right before our eyes. That'll be needed to be served in the next 3 laps. Otherwise, he will be receiving a more severe penalty. He is going to opt to serve that one, though, coming in. Immediately, we see drivers behind him with a send into the pit lane side by side. Very bold from Cuno da Silva as he saw a little bit of weakness from Michael Gravelle's pit entry. Michael very safe. Cuno just not having any of that, almost causing a bit of a scare, but nonetheless pulling a Sebastian Vettel in China in 2008. He keeps it on the track. Rocky Rocco in the Rockefeller Racing 647, sitting in P4 right now. 19 laps completed. Still has to make his pit stop. You can see that 1, the golden number. So P4 will not be where he finishes. Maybe. We'll see. Rocky, definitely don't count him out. He is, of course, recovering from his incident as well. Just a little bit out of practice maybe, but we saw him deliver an absolute stormer of a result last time around, so maybe I shouldn't be selling him too short. P4, in fact, was his previous finish, so if he can keep that up, this is where he would need to be. Stop go 30 for Cuno da Silva. Cuno saw weakness in Michael Gravelle's pit entry, but Michael Gravelle, you can see with no penalty after that drive-through penalty. Cuno da Silva, safety paying off in that case. Way too hot in. That is going to result in him having to come into the pits for within the next 3 laps and remain stationary for 30 seconds before he has to come back out. That is more than likely going to be not race over, but in terms of high podium position finishing, that is going to be him out of the running for that. I know some chat members not going to be too excited to see that one. Though, that is why I always praise it. Practice your pit entries, everybody. It's one of the most important things you can do. Anthony Camacho, he's going to have to do his as well. See if he comes in this lap. We should start to see drivers coming in pretty consistently. He stays out, though, making me look like a fool this time around. And Joey Raymer currently with Ricardo Rivera behind him. Interestingly, Ricardo Rivera does not come into the pits despite having to deal with that traffic. Blue flags being waved. He suspects his McLaren counterpart will move out of the way, and he does so handedly as they go side by side through the first corner. Ricardo Rivera will have that done, of course, into the second one. Lovely work from both drivers, able to work together and be good blue flags together. Takes two there to tango, and both Ricardo as well as Joey Raymer, excuse me, showing that to be very true here tonight. .27 minutes and 17 seconds left to go here. Coming down the back straight into the little left-hander. Of course, one of the 9 left-handers tonight. 5 corners to the right, 9 to the left, 14 in total. We also have Devin Smallblock Anthony battling with the likes of Jay, or not battling at least, he is chasing. Marco Saldana in the pits. And you know, the thing I'm thinking here, I'm looking at these standings, and to be completely honest, anything can happen here in these standings. Of course, there's $100 on the line, brought to you by SFRGT Challenge, Coach Dave and Simgrid. Big thank you to you guys. As well as a top-notch setup bundle for our top 3. The win is going to be tough. Having more than 173 points by the end of... Well, it's not even going to be that tough, actually. Ricardo Rivera can keep these up. He can still win the championship. We're only on round 5. Of course, we have 3 rounds to go after this one. And one of them is a doubleheader. So 4 races left. Jace Wright could be in... He needs to get back into the championship, that's for sure. Of course, missing any race is not ideal. Hopefully all is well for Jace Wright, of course. And oh no, Rocky Rocco from the Rockefeller Racing with a stop-go 30 penalty. Speeding in the pit lane. Naughty Rocco. That P10... gonna be dropped down heavily now at this point, down to the bottom. As Rocky Rocco puts the rock in his name. And that's not because he's rocking and rolling, it's because he is quite frankly sinking down to the bottom of the sea. As he comes out, Patrick Dubois is gonna even get the overtake on him, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. No, okay, he is going to be far enough ahead, but Patrick Dubois, his sister counterpart in the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini, going to be 4 seconds behind. And Cunha da Silva, race has gone from bad to just absolutely terrible at this point. Picks up a drive-through penalty to add insult to injury after the stop-go 30. Really needs to work on those pit entries. You know, I say it before, or I say it every race. You got to have at least 5 pit entries before you head into any session. It's so important. You can gain a bit of time, as we saw. He made a nice lunge onto Michael Gravelle. It's very possible to gain 1 second, maybe even 2 seconds come the pit lane, but it's so easy to lose 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and keeping going on and on and on. And Cunha da Silva is going to be, Cunha da Silva falling into that vicious cycle of a bit of frustration. You know, once you start to get a little frustrated, it's so easy to just miss your braking marker, head into the pits at 1 or 2 kph over, and that picks up a penalty. Albert Tranghisi is into the pits as well. The only ones left, Anthony Macho Man Camacho and Daniel Madreno. Ricardo Rivera will be leading this race 2.3 seconds ahead of Vinicius Duzzi. So far, everybody opting for a tire change. Not one driver has not. I hear a car off into the gravel. Not sure what that was. Didn't see any yellow flags pop up. But the Spirit Onyx team driver, the number 12, a race to forget tonight. Going to be looking forward, of course, to next week. Improve his standings. Still dropping some points, though, tonight, at least bringing home a finish. Spa-Francorchamps, though, 75 minutes at Spa is going to be, of course, next week, November 17th. After Spa-Francorchamps, we'll have a little bit of a break for the holiday season. Of course, American Thanksgiving will be coming up for that. And we will resume the championship at Monza December 1st. In fact, I can pop the calendar up. It's not the fanciest calendar, but it works. It is what you can find over on SimGrid, and where you can find any information to SimGrid, of course, is in our stream description. If you guys are interested in any of our social links, Facebook, SimGrid, Discord, all of the above for the SFRGT Challenge, you can find that down below. And while you're down there, why don't you hit that subscribe button, also the like button, and the bell so you know when we go live every week for our streams. Thank you guys so much in advance for all of your support as well. You guys are absolutely incredible. And I am Mike Nause in the booth as well. Should probably say that. Who am I? I'm from Trackalicious, the main commentator over at Trackalicious. My social links, or not my social links, but where you can find all of my information for when I'm live, and if you are enjoying my commentary and want to support me on that journey, you can find over in Discord and on Twitch links to all of mine as well. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys are all having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you guys are in this fine world. We still have 20 minutes and 13 seconds of racing tonight. As it stands, bit of a gap up at the front. Ricardo Rivera, 3.5 seconds to Vinicius Duzzi. Vinicius gaining a lot come that pit phase. In fact, that is incredible. The Vinicius and Ricardo had pit stops down to the 0.6 of a second was the difference in their pit stops. Both of them spending just over a minute and 2 seconds in the pit lane. Actually, a minute and 1 second in the pit lane. Vinicius, though, spending 0.6 more. Should I say amateur? No, not really. Of course, super tight margins between the two in the pits. Albert Tranghisi a little bit slower in terms of his pit lane. As a result, drops him about 14 seconds behind Vinicius. And Anthony Macho Man Camacho in P5. 17 seconds off the mark. Still two drivers to make their pit stops. Anthony and Daniel. Daniel Madreno has been getting his fair taste leading this race, but he does need to come in at some point, and his tires are going to be screaming. I predict, though, he is not going to be changing tires. If I had to guess, both him and Anthony Camacho, there's really no point at this point for them to change tires. I don't think that's the right strategy, though we'll see. As it happens, 30 seconds is the gap to Ricardo Rivera, but it seems like a little bit over a minute for pit stops. I don't know where Daniel was before. He started in P6. He should come out somewhere around that mark, actually. More like, more into P7 if I actually had to guess. We'll see. He may come out in P6, he may come out in P7, he may come out side by side with Marco Saldana. If he does, that'll be certainly exciting. Earlier on, we saw this battle between Devin Smallblock Anthony and Jay Davis. Jay is going to be ahead after the pit phase as well. He was ahead before. We saw Devin go for that undercut. Went into the pits extremely early, in fact. No, that wasn't Devin. That wasn't Devin. That was Jay Davis. Excuse me. I'm getting my drivers confused. Jay Davis went in very early. So Jay is going to be on much older tires. In fact, 5-minute older tires than Devin Anthony. As it stands, that isn't going to make too much of a difference, but come the closing few laps, that may mean the difference between P8 and P9 for Jay. 6 seconds separating him and Marco as well. It'll be tough for Devin to close that gap. But for now, Anthony and Jay, they're going to remain fairly comfortable with their gaps. Joey Raymer has caught up with Anthony Camacho. In fact, Jay Davis and Joey Raymer in the sister cars, in fact. I didn't even notice that. Both in the nameless racing McLaren tonight. On for decent results for both of them. Joey Raymer, though, in the opposite position currently of his teammate. He is currently chasing rather than being chased. I'm not sure which I'd rather be, to be fair. I think I'd rather be Joey Raymer just off the fact that he is going to be making that move onto Anthony Camacho, and Anthony is into the pits because he has not made his stop yet. So that wasn't even a fight on track, really. Anthony in, and he should probably not take tires with 17 minutes, though. I don't know. That's risky. You pretty much got to take tires. I just think Anthony has kind of maybe gone for a less than optimal strategy here tonight. I don't think there's too much good to say about it. No offense, Anthony Camacho. Not Devin Anthony, excuse me. It's just, you know, you go for something bold, and it doesn't work. And I think Danny Madrano is going to find himself in a very similar boat as he is in the pits as well. At just a very awkward time where you're at 17 minutes. You kind of have to take tires. It's just an awkward phase. If you don't, you're going to be suffering. Absolutely suffering come the end of this one. We'll see. As he's going to be heading towards the end of the pit lane now, Anthony Camacho, where is he going to come out? He trundles down at that 60 kph. Comes out in P9. He started in P6. He's down. No, he started in P12. Up 3 positions from where he started. And 36 seconds behind Devin Anthony. I'm not sure where he started in relation there. It may have worked out for him. It may not have, actually. I don't really know. Danny Madrano, he's going to come out in 4th, though. And he did not take tires. Okay. So both Anthony and Daniel did not take tires. And they came out a little bit ahead of where they would have expected. In fact, Daniel should have just taken tires. He was in a window where this may cost him. Like I say, we'll see. It's a very awkward time to come out on those old tires. But I respect them sticking with their commitment and riding it out to the end. It is going to be a tough one, though. Why don't we pop on board with Danny Madrano? Let's see what it looks like behind the wheel of this Lamborghini. Does he have grip? As he comes into the back sector. Now negotiating turns 8. Turns 8 into turn 9. No, I'm on the wrong part of the track. Excuse me. Into turn 12 now. My apologies. Through the long 13 into the final corner. This is where we're going to see a lot of that grip. And it looks good. Honestly, Danny Madrano looking fairly confident. I'm not seeing too many corrections at the wheel. I'm not seeing too much understeer versus oversteer. Everything looks balanced for the Rockefeller Racing Lamborghini. This may be a good strategy for him. We'll see what his lap times reflect. That will be the question. Next time around, we're seeing 132s, 131s. Daniel, though, absolutely on it when it comes to traction. I would not expect that. Come the next 10 minutes, though, is that going to stay the reality? Marco Saldana in the Rockefeller Racing McLaren Evo 2. Rocking the white and black. White, black, and high visibility green. P6 respectively for him. Jay Davis, 5.3 seconds off the mark. Gonna be a tough one to catch. Looking at the lap times, fairly even for the two drivers. Maybe in a 24-hour race. Maybe not in 13 minutes. The gaps on track, a little bit separated, coming to a bit of a lull here. Devin Anthony, though, is reeling in Jay Davis. Last time around, not quite. A little bit slower. And we see the lap times as well now coming in. Devin Anthony also did not take tires. Kuna does actually have his pit. He has made 3 pit stops tonight, but the third one was the charm for him. And he did manage to get it valid and on the board. And I take that back. Devin Anthony did take tires. I was reading the wrong timing there. Anthony Camacho did not. Anthony was a 1:35.9 to the drivers around at a 1:33.1. I think that the choice in tires is starting to show. And Anthony Camacho as well as Daniel Madrano, 1:32.4. Why is Daniel so quick? I think I know the answer to that. He's just an alien. But Daniel on those really old tires is extremely comfortable. And the Lamborghini, to be said, probably the worst car out there when it comes to tire wear. Maybe the McLaren is worse, but it's definitely an, I mean, I just don't know enough about that argument. Chat, I'd love to know if you guys have any input on that one. Which car uses more rubber? Drive-through penalty picker for Kuna da Silva. Why did I say anything? I just shouldn't have said anything. He has to make his, oh, and is that him? I think he's done. Is that his pit spot? Or is he just, yeah, no, he's done. He's done. 4 pit stops was enough for Kuna da Silva tonight. The SOT driver has had enough. They all eat tires if I'm driving. Yeah, fair enough. I feel like the Lamborghini, though, at least the old Lamborghini, was absolutely brutal. Vinicius Doozy needs to be careful. That was probably a track limit warning if I had to guess. Has nobody around him. 6.8 seconds to Ricardo Rivera. I do not see him catching Ricardo, barring any massive calamity here for the Puerto Rico iRacing Club driver. Vinicius just needs to keep it between the mayo and the mustard and not pick up any drive-through penalties. The SOT team down a driver now. Vinicius, let's not make it 2. Albert Tranghisi, though, happy to sneak up onto the podium positions. The number 1, of course, our previous champion from the Friday Night PC League. Season 2, of course, Season 2 champion. Oh, no, did Kuna pick up another drive-through penalty? No, wait, he's back. He disconnected, but he's back. It is going to result in a 2-minute and 30-second penalty, though, of course, for leaving the session and having a rejoin. Just ACC's default. Also, Rocky Rocco. Interesting fact here tonight. The only driver to come into the pits and repair his car. So Rocky getting into a collision with something tonight. Presumably not any other cars, as nobody had any repairs. They could have obviously just turned it off with minimal damage. Rocky, though, making sure that his car, when he brings it back to the garage, is going to be factory new and ready to throw back up on the plinth. course, the 296, it does not belong on a plinth. If any car doesn't belong on a plinth, that car is one of them. It belongs lapping very famous racetracks, in fact, what it's doing right now. So keep it up. Rocky Rocco from the Rockefeller Racing. Of course, Rocky, the community leader over there, as well as running stuff here over at SFRGT Challenge, one of the managers here. Big thank you. Oh, awesome livery to boot. In fact, why don't we take a look at some liveries? Let's start up at the front here. Ricardo Rivera, our race leader, behind the wheel of the Puerto Rico iRacing Club driver. Got the yellow and blue helmet as well. A lovely livery brought to the table here with national pride. Love to see the Puerto Rico pride on that flag, or on the back wing of that car. And the flags on the diffuser as well. Ricardo Rivera, I'm not sure who actually made that livery. If anyone knows, please let me know. The SOT livery, this was made by Nato Flow. Haven't seen him in chat today. But an awesome livery from Nato. The SOT Brazilian and Japanese flag on that one. Interesting. Is Vinicius part Japanese as well? Wouldn't surprise me, because this man, this boy, is 12 years old, has the need for speed. Currently P2. And Albert Tranghisi in the Tranghisi designed livery. Another one with the red number plate. Red number 1, our previous champion. And proud of it. Awesome monster support, and as well as what is up on the roof of this car. Screen to speed, Ford. The Ford Ferrari, interesting. Five minutes and 51 seconds left here in this race tonight. It seems these drivers have all found their windows and where they are going to lie for the positions. Not too much happening in terms of development on track. If you guys have a livery that you'd love to look at, please let me know. Also, like I said, just how are you guys doing in chat tonight? Enjoying the stream? You guys having a lovely evening? Got anything big going on in terms of racing? And Lilia Speaker? Is it Speaker? I definitely mispronounced that one. I apologize. Supporting the Rockefeller Racing team as well. Lots of Rockefeller Racing support tonight. Not as much SOT support as we're used to. We've been seeing a lot of SOT support in chat. Come on. Where are our SOT boys and gals out there? Also, Tranghisi, Albert Tranghisi representing his own team tonight. Looking to bring home the podium. Plenty of drivers are going to want that spot, but 19 seconds separating him and Daniel Madreno. It seems Daniel, with his, what I thought at the time, interesting pit strategy, it is going to work out for him. Now, for Anthony Camacho, he has remained in P9. So it looks like it also has worked out for him to some extent. I butchered the first name. Interesting. Oh, it's Ilya. It's Ilya. I got the letters mixed up in in YouTube. They just look the same because they all are just sticks. Ilya. Ilya Speaker. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Like I say, and appreciate everyone hitting that follow button. Appreciate you guys subscribing, as it is free here. And joining us once again, if you guys are interested in joining us, as we have our championship, or not championship, we could have our championship shaken up, but our current race leader, Ricardo Rivera, brand new to the championship in this race. Of course, this is round 5. Next week will be Spa-Francorchamps. Just because you can't win that $100 doesn't mean you can't join in and even potentially compete for the top 3. I'd say that is still on the table for anybody just joining. After this race, it will be tough to win the championship, though, from joining. But I highly encourage anyone getting out there to race with just the caliber of drivers that they are. Open to everybody, of course, this championship. Vinicius Duzzi or Ricardo Rivera, though, being able to see what it's like to lap with these guys, work with them, of course, being a part of such a nice community as the SFRGT Challenge, practicing with these guys, it's very nice. And also, I guess, if you guys are interested, one thing that Trackalicious offers, we also offer a rookie league over at Trackalicious. The links are up there in chat if you want to join in on that. If maybe you are intimidated to join in on these bigger, as these guys are quite quick. Still would not disincentivize you guys from joining this league whatsoever, even if you are new. But if your rookie league is more your steam, then we do offer that over at Trackalicious, where I do commentate, of course. But for now, these drivers, like I say, Ricardo Rivera, Vinicius Duzzi, extreme talents out there on the grid. Duzzi, a 12-year-old wonder from Brazil. I was going to say a wonder from down under, but he's just kind of down under me. He's not really, not like he's from Australia or anything. But with 1 minute and 24 left, that is going to be one lap left of the Circuit Ricardo Tormo here at Valencia, Spain. So why don't we ride on board with Ricardo Rivera for the next 2.4 miles. So we head down to turn 1 here, Curva Aspar. Got to tip it in, very conservative entry. You can see Ricardo Rivera far from the limit as he is coasting into those corners, late onto the throttle and very easy onto the throttle as well. Nursing those tires. Is going to go onto a short shift for safety in terms of traction. One of the most conservative laps you're ever going to see here at Valencia, but it's all he needs to do. Vinicius Duzzi, 8 seconds behind. It is going to be an absolute no chance of catching if he keeps up with this safe pace. The only way that he could catch is if Ricardo does bin it, and Ricardo at this rate of knots is most certainly not going to bin it. Well, I say that. A little bit of a milking of the cow through Sector 2. But the seesawing isn't going to faze him. Ricardo Rivera, first race here at the SFRGT Challenge. Looking strong to bring it home tonight for a race win. Just 2 more corners to navigate. Long left-hander. And then to, of course, bring it home through the final corner. Turn 14, Curva Campos. Onto the start-finish straight. Ricardo Rivera, his debut race of the SFRGT Challenge, comes across the line for first place. Nice job from the 787. Vinicius Duzzi just coming onto the start-finish straight now, 9 seconds behind, is going to come across the line. The number 25 driver in P2. The Brazilian Spiridonix team, nice result for them. Next up, Albert Tranghisi coming across the final corner now. 19 seconds separating him and Vinicius. Slows to the line, and it will be a P3 podium finish for the number 1 TDR Ferrari 296. What a race it's been, everybody. Danny Madreno has had an off on the final lap. That's going to make things interesting and give Joey Raymer a hope, at least a glimmer of hope. Not going to be able to make anything of it. Danny Madreno just needs to keep it on track for 1 more corner. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Is going to make it happen. P4 for the number 6 Lamborghini. 39 laps complete here tonight as well. In 1 hour, that's quite a few laps, but a 2.4 mile circuit. One of the longer ones. Sharkbait in chat, dropping a good round. It was quite a good round, I must say so myself. Marco Saldana gonna come around the final quarter for P6. Jay Davis in P7. Should be our championship leader now, Jay Davis. With Devin Smallblock Anthony in 8th. Anthony Macho Man Camacho, excuse me, in P9. And rounding out our top 10, Rocky Rocco from the Rockefeller Racing. Awesome, awesome stuff here tonight, if I do say so myself, and I most certainly do. Congratulations, Diane Doozy in chat, cheering on Vinicius, of course. This was our round 5, everybody, of the Friday Night PC round 3, or season 3, here at SFRGT Challenge. Join us next week, of course, November 17th, same time, for Spa-Francorchamps. If you do want to see all your favorite drivers going around to that track, Spa, one of the most historically active tracks in terms of history throughout all of motor racing. So do not miss it. Big thank you to everybody. Big thank you to Rocky. Thank you to SFRGT Challenge. Thank you to chat as well for being here. Hope everyone is having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Of course, I am Mike Nause signing off. Thank you all, and good night.